continuing on from the last capsule where I talked about if there were any mandatory exercises, we can go the other way and ask ourselves, are there any worthless exercises? No. Every exercise is better than no exercise at all. That having been said, you can ask yourself, well, is it worth adding that exercise to my program? I see that a lot from people. Well, you know what? Your training program doesn't have anything for forearms. Well, you're deadlifting, you're doing pulls, pull-ups, curls. Your forearms are pretty much fine. So I'm not saying that wrist curls or wrist extension are worthless. I'm saying that provided that you don't have any issues with your forearms, your regular training is probably taking care of the solution. I will tell you a story. A friend of mine when I was in college. Now I was an Olympic weightlifter, he was a sprinter. We trained a lot of sessions at the same time. And he was doing Olympic lifts, he was doing squats, deadlift, and he was doing pretty well. Probably not a genetic freak, so he was not like the national level, but he was a pretty decent sprinter. Now he got into school, I think it was like massage therapy or some advanced like stuff where they study like all kind of anatomy or something like that. And then he got into this thing where he would study the exact function of every single muscle in the body. Now that's fine. I mean, you have to understand how the muscles work to optimize your training, but he took it much further than that. He went from doing like squats, deadlifts, clean snatches, lunges, to doing like one exercise for the sartorius, one exercise for the adductor, one exercise for the abductors, one exercise for the gluteus medius, one exercise for the gluteus maximus, one exercise for the inner portion of the hamstring. You get the deal. I mean, his lower body program was 12 exercises. And you know what? His sprinting performances went vroom. Why? Because he started majoring on the minors. There are no worthless exercises, but focusing on some minor stuff instead of the big basics that will give you the best gains is stupid. Sure, if you have a specific weakness that needs to be addressed, then you need a corrective or remedial exercises that will fix the problem. That's where understanding muscle function is useful. But if you use that knowledge to include minor exercises for every single thing, you know what? I don't have any splenius exercises in my program either, and I'm fine. So are there any worthless exercises? No, because you never know when that stupid movement is gonna be the one thing that can fix your problem. So potentially anything can be useful, but the more important question is that exercise worth spending training money on instead of spending my training time and money on exercise that will give me more bang for my buck. So be objective with what you're putting on a program. One of my former mentors once told me, if you cannot justify 100% everything you're putting in your program, don't put it in there. I mean, to me, adding a sartorius exercise, unless you have a sartorius problem, is not justifiable. I mean, the gluteus medius can be worked fine if you're squatting and doing the hip hinge properly. You might need activation exercise, but maybe you don't need like all these like butt-kins from all kind of different angles. I mean, I was training this morning. Of course, I look dashing as usual. And I'm like walking and everybody's obviously looking at me, right? Except this girl who's in the corner, and I swear to God, she was doing probably every single glute exercises known to breadth contourists, except the big basic lift. So she didn't do squats, she didn't do deadlift, didn't do hip hinge. All she did was like all these like funky movements you see on the butts of steel videos for an hour and a half. And you know what? She still had a flat butt. There's a lesson there. Don't major in the minors. The minors can be useful to support the majors. They should never be the focus of your program.